So I was reading some stuff on MLB.com about Josh Jung, and he'll admit that he did not perform as hoped when he was up here last year. Now, obviously, he had an incredible start, but then after that, it was a dud, and he's dealt with multiple injuries. And you go back to, because we talked to him in 2020, right before COVID shut everything down, and he was great. Loved talking to him. And then the pandemic.
Trying to get him for Monday. We're trying to get him live.
That would be awesome.
Monday. That'd be, I think, a great person to kick off spring training with.
Totally agree. Then the pandemic shut down that season, and then he had a stress fracture in his left foot that delayed 2021, and could he have made his way up there? Then in 2022, we thought he'll be there, and it's his job to lose for opening day at third base. And then he needed left shoulder surgery for the torn labrum. So he's had a bunch of injury problems. So my question is, for somebody that we've been waiting for a while, do the Tolos, Twolos, Rangers fans believe in Josh Jung?
I believe in him long-term, Corey. I just am struggling to believe in him in 2023 being an impact player. I just jotted down between rookie ball and AAA. I don't know if it was there what you just said, but I was doing the math here. How many games do you think he's played in the minor leagues?
100?
I was going to say 84.
It's 153 total.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, that's a lot.
44 games in 2019 after drafted. That's A ball and rookie ball. In AA and AAA in 2021, 78 games before injury. And last year he played in 31 games.
But he
before
played like 200 games of college ball, right?
That don't matter.
Okay. All right. Just to point that out, listening.
So that's where I believe in him long term. I believe in Josh Jung being a good player in Major League Baseball. I just look at the lack of at-bats, the lack of game time, the lack of knowledge of professional baseball, and going, okay, like you're just going to give it to him in the major leagues. Last year, he was a 204 hitter in the major leagues with a 654 OPS in 26 games. But is it fair when you've only played one whole season of baseball in your 3 years of minor league development? When you look at last year, remember how hot of a start he got off to?
Yes, and then he cratered.
But then he cratered, right? And he batted for the year last year in AAA for the most part. He batted 266 with an 866 OPS. That's not life-changing numbers at AAA where you're like, bring him up. He's ready to kick butt. Like, when you just look at it, I just look at it and go, man, you're going to have to deal with a lot of adversity. And can he at this age, he's going to be 24, 25 this year, can he deal with that adversity at a major league level?
What's interesting when you bring that up is because in the article, he says one of the things that he did was he sat down at his computer and created a vision board. And he said the reason for that is his mental performance coach had told him for years to do it, but he never got around to it.
Like its trajectory, like where he's the vision of where he's going?
No. Oh, I think you're not talking about eyesight, having better eyesight picking up the ball? Because so in the mental ABCs of pitching, which I was talking about, Jamie Moyer would have his wife draw a box of 100 boxes and put numbers 1 through 100 in them randomly. And he would have to pick the number, like find the number and then find the number. So like, I'm thinking like, yes, I've seen this before where this is more of a concentrating more on the ball and concentrating more on your location as a pitcher.
See, Oprah taught me how to just make a collage, and that's my vision board.
I actually think that's what this one is. Like, I'm not discounting anything you said, but it was all in terms of, so I'll read you around it. What leads me to believe that is he goes, this season, Jung wanted to put a bigger emphasis on his mental game and how he can really dive into the mental side of his performance. And when he said it was his mental performance coach that wanted to put together the vision board, that's why I think he was able to delay it. It felt like if it was baseball centric, his coach would be like, hey, stop delaying this and do it right now. If it's putting together your collage of things you cut out and everything, which I think is what Corey is getting at, it feels like that would be something easier to delay.
I do know from my agent that the Rangers were looking for a backup third base situation in case he struggled early on this year. Now, that being said, I don't think they signed. Well, I mean, I know they didn't sign one. They didn't sign maybe a guy that they were looking at. He signed somewhere else. So there is, I don't know this. If he struggles, let's just say through the month of April, he's batting 100 through 80 at-bats. I know that's not a lot of at-bats. Do they go, Josh, it's just best for you. We're trying to win. We want to win 90 games. We want to make the playoffs. And right now, this level is, we probably pushed it too much. Let's put Josh Smith, Ezekiel Duran. I'm not sure exactly who, but I'm just wondering how much they'll allow him to struggle and stay up in the major leagues. I hope it doesn't happen. I hope he's batting 250 and you don't have to worry about it. But I can see, I don't want this to happen, but I can see where you get to the end of April, you get 1 month into this season and they say it's going to be best for him to go down to AAA, keep working on his game, and have a guy who's a little bit more established. We don't have the veteran guy that you'd like to maybe plug in there, but let's just plug in Josh Smith, Ezekiel Duran until he can really figure it out a little bit more.
I will be interested to, because of that descriptor, to watch how it plays out as well, because I feel like they'll give him more leeway just because they desperately want him to get it. But you might be right. If you're in a competitive situation straight away and you're like, hey, you're the guy, but we don't have time to wait for you to be the guy right now.
I'll give you an example. The number 4 overall prospect in all of baseball 2 years ago. Do you have an idea who it was? Because he's been probably the worst major leaguer in all of baseball the last 2 years. That's your hint. It's Jared Kelenic.
Yeah.
He was the number 4 overall prospect in all of baseball. As I'm saying this, Corey, can you look up Kelenic and look up his stats in the minor leagues? They're phenomenal. Like 350 batter. Like
Jared Kelenic?
Yes. OPS of, I believe, like close to 1, if not over 1. And he come up to the major leagues the last 2 years.
Yeah.
And he's horrible.
Oh, do you want to know his batting average in his first season?
Go ahead.
Yeah.
181.
And that was when he was like a strikeout.
Would you like to know?
Yeah, do you have what he was batting in AAA?
No, I'll have
pull
to
it up.
link on that.
But just to give you an example, because I'm not saying this is Josh Jung, but just remember like how this can go. Go ahead, keep going with the stats.
Yeah, he was batting 141 the next year. In AAA, Mike, he was hitting 290, 300. And with, good pop, but yeah, hitting in the 290, 300 area. Wow.
This was a can't miss going to be a 10-time All-Star.
He was hitting 320 in AAA. Wow. And then he comes in the majors, 181. Goes back to AAA, 296.
I remember the hype when he came up too was so off the page. And now Josh Jung, because we've been waiting these 2 extra years, is
Kevin, if you're I haven't answered this. I'm not expecting anything from him this year.
Okay.
I'm expecting the rest of the lineup to carry a lot of it and him to do some things. And I expect that we're going to be sitting here going, we may need some additional help, not only in left field, but also at third base, at least for the time being. I'm hoping. There's a lot of hope, but like Mike's saying, he hasn't proven anything to me yet to have a basis to work off of.
That's where I'm at. Overall, be very patient with Josh Jung. Don't get down on him if he has a rough start to the season or a rough season. It doesn't mean he was a bad pick. It doesn't mean he can't play in the major leagues. It might be. There's plenty of prospects that can't play in the major leagues and never figure out how to play in the major leagues. But don't give up on him, Ranger fans. If you're expecting a lot from him, and there's a lot of Tech fans who are in love with the Rangers right now because of him, give him time. Give him this whole season. Let this whole season play out, and hopefully we see improvement. Whether it's in the minor leagues or the major leagues, we see improvement throughout this season.